Flory Models Daily Vlog. Here we are on Thursday the 14th of January 2016 and been pushing on very nicely today with the actual the Terminator. Basically the lower hulls on. Nice to get the bit of photo etch in there. Generally everything's going together very nicely. I was very impressed with the way that these side pods fit on. Literally you drop them in and they are absolutely flawless and a seamless kit. So Meng at its best, really nice. Just the plastic, the actual styrene itself is very chunky. It's very heavy to sand and all the rest of it, which is unusual. With the other Meng stuff I've done with them, the actual styrene, the plastic, has always been very easy to sand, very easy to cut and everything else. But for some reason, and I'm not totally sure why, because I haven't built too much of their stuff, just a few bits and pieces here and there. But this one definitely seems to be a heavier gauge. It's a thicker, you know, more dense type of styrene. So sanding it is particularly difficult. Just cutting things off the sprue seems to be a lot worse with it than normal. But that said, the actual quality is going together really nicely. So basically with this one, all we got to do now is the two turrets at the front and everything else. We've got the side skirts are all done, the wheels are all behind me and everything else. So we're actually pushing on very nicely for the lower turret, the lower hull system onto it. So next we can move on with the turret on top. Today I had every intention of doing a couple of reviews to get up for tomorrow and everything else like it, but to be honest I got sidetracked with this one, pushing on very nicely with it. So what I'm going to do is this evening and tomorrow morning I'm going to be working on these great reviews. So coming up tomorrow we've got the Ultimate Sabre, which is we probably know as the Academy Sabre, with all the great Edard bits in there, very reminiscent to when we did the actual F104 Starfighter. So it's a fantastic kit, then bettered by Edard in their usual way. So that's fantastic with that one. And then we've got Russia's brand new tank by Takom. Okay, this is the T14. Okay, so that one looks to be very nice, very futuristic, very square, and everything else. And again, Takom. So it'd be interesting to see how they're progressing with their kits and everything else like that. As well as something for the scratch builders out there. We've got something from Airscale that they've sent to us, this particular set. So this is bezels and things like that for round cockpit detail. So if you wanted to upgrade an aircraft, something else like that, we'll talk about it through there. But if you're doing something like the A10 and you were going from the A to a C, with that type of stuff, it makes it a dream because you can make up instrument panels and various things without too much trouble, because all the hard work is in bezels, which are usually the tricky bit because they're fine in detail, you can do. So we're going to be having a look at those and talking about where you would use them, how you would use them, and all the bits and pieces for the review. Loving the way you're getting on well with these questions and the various bits and pieces on the site, on the forum, and talking about that. We asked about paints yesterday was my question, and it was great because the feedback we actually got was that usual thing of mixing. A lot of you are like, yes, okay, I'm a paint collector and I'm sorry, you know, my name's Tony and I collect paint, you know, my name's Phil, I collect paint as well. There is something, when I was doing commission work, I used to collect paint sets. That's why I've got quite a lot. Tamiya especially, I wanted the entire range of Tamiya. And then it got to the point where I had them and never used them. So now I have to hand what I use. But as you'll see next week when I give you the studio tour, and I'll show you around here and the actual stock areas and various bits and pieces around here, you'll see that actually this is a small percentage of my paint and I am as guilty as the next person for having sets of paint and all the rest of it. But what I tend to have here is what I use day to day, and then elsewhere I've got other colours and I've got duplicates of, as a lot of you know, because I've got trade accounts here, there and everywhere. When we buy paint we tend to buy sixes of them because I will use them and I do go through them quite a lot, especially certain colours like the greys of this world and things like that, so I tend to buy them in bulk. Other colours like primary colours, obviously hardly ever, you know, just your normal yellows, reds in flat and gloss. I probably have bottles that last me for years, but you do slowly go through them in cockpits and various things like that and detail work. But generally I am as guilty as everyone else. But a couple of nice you know, sort of comments came up about it, and they were saying that, you know, we like to buy lots of, which is something I can relate to from a sales point of view, because I know when we first started pushing the wash, if you remember back in 2005 when this stuff came out, we had two colours. We used to have dark dirt and light dirt. From my personal point of view, when I was actually making it, because obviously don't forget I made this for me, it was never ever supposed to be released onto the market, but the thing is we had two colours, because between light dirt and dark dirt I could make pretty much everything I needed. So when we first of all we thought, well look, perhaps we could sell this, and we went out to, you know, obviously companies, and we pitched, and in those days it was light and dark. Now we're called dark, dirt and light. These were the two original colours, and we were like, this is our colours, this is our product, and everybody we spoke to was like, is that it? That's no good. People don't want to. They want sets. And from our point of view of selling your stuff, we want to sell maximum amount of them, go away, come back with a set, you know. And we were like, well, how many do you want in a set? And they were saying, oh, we don't know, probably around about 10, 20, 10 or 20, forget it. So that's probably why we never made it around the world like paint companies do and all the rest of it. But that was the thing. From a retail point of view, it's good because they know us as customers will go out and buy sets of. I'm not going to go into too many details, but we were approached a couple of years ago by a Japanese company who wanted to take us on and all the rest of it. And they mentioned that it's too big a bottle. It's no good. It's 50 ml. It'll last a model or too long. They need something that's quick turnover. So could we make it in a smaller bottle, for instance? So, you know, about sort of, you know, 15 ml would be perfect. And it was like, well, we can't really manufacture in 15 ml because the cost of the unit is, you know, negligible, and all the rest of it. We do it in what we think is a fair price to the customer, and we fell out with them because they wanted us to do smaller ones in a range of about 25, and that was never going to happen, and I wasn't going to just make them up for the sake of it. So we finished that one. But it's interesting to know that the marketing people know what we're like, and they know we do buy sets of, and we like to complete sets, and all the rest of it. And now that a lot of us have shelving like we have, it is nice to have a nice rack steady at the back, okay, but it is nice to have a rack where you've got all the paints and then knowing you can go to. But my question really was, why do we buy the same colour by different manufacturers? And some of you have pointed out that you're looking for the better shade because they tend to be different shades of colour. I don't disagree with you because obviously I'm guilty of it as well, but you know, I wouldn't worry too much. If it's a grey, that's your base starting point, because greys on different aircraft, for instance, you look at 10 aircraft, you're going to get 10 different greys because they all weather at different stages. The same with armour and various bits and pieces. And now weathering is such a big thing that you start off with the base colour, and then by the time, you know, especially armour guys have been in there with different filtering techniques and washes and all the different, you know, things that you can do to armour, it's probably not that close to what it started out with anyway. Well, the same's very much with aircraft. By the time you've given it a wash and you've gone in there and perhaps you've sanded back and, you know, weathered them up, it's not going to be that perfect shade that you started out with and things like that. So that's the difference with it. But it's great to get feedback from what people think and do. And you get the guys who are saying, well, when you started out, like I did, especially because I can relate to it, they were saying that certain manufacturers didn't do certain colours. So that's why you ended up with different manufacturers, and then they bring out a colour. So you end that and you've got them both then and all the rest of it, which is very true because Israeli Defence Force colours especially, you couldn't get anywhere, nobody did them, so it was basically, you know, hobby colour was my go-to colour for it. Now, obviously, the Layer, they've brought out that colour in Model S, so you can do them quite easily in there now, and obviously other manufacturers. Again, Russian colours, very, very tricky to get hold of, so that's where, you know, obviously you can get specific manufacturers. We're thinking ACAN especially, because they've got all the Russian colours in all the different things. You can do them just like that. So certainly from that point of view, I think it answered a lot of questions, but it's great talking point and all the rest of it. So what I'm going to do now, because it went bigger than I thought, and I didn't realise you guys were going to take it to heart quite as much as you did, we're going to leave it, do one every other day. Okay, and some of you have sent me things as well, talking obviously about stashes and tools and various things, which are all great questions, so I'm going to be posting up as well. That's a helicopter taking off, which landed behind us. I'm not going to say too much because it's the air ambulance and I hate seeing that thing as much as I love aircraft. When you see the air ambulance landing on the motorway behind us, it's not nice. So anyway, that's basically it for today. Now tomorrow, to be honest, I am at a funeral during the afternoon. So I'm not sure exactly how this is going to stack up. It may be when I come back from the funeral, then it'll be uploaded and done. Apologies whilst the thing's been late. Hopefully next week I'll get this back on track. But as I say, tomorrow being Friday, I like to do a little bit of special work. I'll get your gallery work up there and everything else like that. And obviously I've got to do a few things over the weekend. So I'm hopefully going to finish off this bit down here, to be honest. Going to get cracking on with the MIG over the weekend, and hopefully I'm going to be able to finish off the SIG and group build reveals as well, ready for next week. So quite a bit of work to go down on there. But needless to say, the reviews will be up tomorrow, but I'm just not sure when. It might be later in the evening when we get back, rather than being at 5 o'clock and all things like that. So that's it for today. Happy modelling, everybody. Take care, and I'll catch you all tomorrow.